Welcome back. You're listening to Footscray Live. Before we start our next segment, I would like to thank our proud sponsor, Randall Arts Management. You can visit them at www.randellam.com.au. That's www.randellam.com.au for more information. You're listening to Footscray Live. Welcome everybody, broadcasting from Footscray City College, you're listening to Footscray Live. My name is Isaac Johns, and with me on my panel today, I have Taylor, James and Marley.
Hi.
Yeah. And we are on the 99.0 show with our special guest, Harry Nguyen. Thanks for joining us, Harry.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, well, just to add a bit of context, the reason why we call it the 99.90 show is we're referring to Harry's ATAR score. The ATAR scores were released today in Victoria on the Thursday. And Harry got the highest score in our school. So let's just give a round of applause.
Yeah.
Good job, Harry.
For video listeners, we're giving a standing ovation.
Yes. So more information on Harry will be featured next week in Star Weekly magazine. Harry, would you like to start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm not the most, remarkable person, right? So I'm just a student here, doing all the science subjects.
Down to earth.
Yeah, hey. Doing all the science subjects. I like doing sports, soccer, running, parkour, all that stuff.
Yep.
Pretty normal. Like nothing extraordinary. Yeah, but I just have a liking to studying and doing science, because
Yeah,
it's good.
So, Harry, James here. Today is a big day for all VCE students who got their results on their ATAR. So how do you think people are feeling and how are you feeling?
I think, and I've talked to a lot of my friends, and they think that it's a very stressful and also happy day, depending on what score you got.
Yeah.
Even if people got a low score, if you got a high score, then good on you. Even if you have a low score, then people say ATAR doesn't define you.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't.
So just to ask, Harry, you said you did a lot of science subjects. What are all the subjects that you actually did? Did you do 6 subjects for your VCE or did you do 5?
Right. So this year I did 5 subjects.
Yep.
Last year I did 1 subject.
Yeah.
You guys may know this. They call this the Asian 5. If you guys don't know, it's English, specialist math, methods, physics, and chemistry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And last year I did Vietnamese, but honestly, that was kind of a fail. That was kind of a crash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't talk about that.
So what advice would you give to other people who one day would dream of being on the 99.90 show on Footscray Live?
Well, it's I think I've got pretty lucky, but the key to getting a high score isn't being smart or being the most, the kid with the highest IQ or the kid who does the best in this certain subject or that certain subject. I think it's all about dedication and preservation,
Yeah. I
you have to
completely agree.
stick through. You have to have a plan, stick through with it, and then you see results.
Well, when you speak about dedication, what sort of dedication are you talking about? What's some of the dedication that you put in order that helped you get to this score?
Yeah, well, that's personally, I plan out a plan where I went to the library after school every day, for example.
Yep.
For 2-3 hours ish, just did all my work and then go home.
Nice and consistent.
Yeah, it's nice and consistent. It's not too crazy like you see kids on ATAR Nota. You have to study 6 hours after school to get a 90. No, it's just you have to put in the work and you have to do it consistently. So first of all, you don't burn out. You don't feel like, oh, I hate year 12, because year 12 is supposed to be fun. But you also did a lot of work, so it's like a nice balance between school and play.
You mentioned that you did English, specialist maths, methods, physics, and chemistry. What are the best subjects that you got scores for, and what are your favourite subjects that you did?
For raw scores, I got 50 on English. That was my best subject.
Very well.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't believe it when I saw it.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
And scale, I got I think 51.5 on specialists.
Yeah.
Yeah. So favorite though, even though I kind of failed on it.
Yeah.
It was math methods.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be my saving grace, but apparently not.
Yeah.
It was my lowest score. But it's all part of enjoyment. Like enjoying year 12. Yeah.
Now that you mentioned, enjoying year 12, and especially just before you mentioned, like the work and life balance, do you ever think that, it gets a little too tough? Like, do you reckon there's way too much pressure put on, year 12s? Because, it's obviously, affected a lot of people mentally, and you hear about it all the time on the news. So what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, definitely there's quite a lot of pressure. It can come from school, come from parents, or most of it, I think it comes from yourself. Like, you want to be the person who get that high ATAR, the person who over-deliver.
Yeah.
But the school and the parents, the general social expectation has gone down because there's so many different pathways you can get into. Even if you even if you fail your VC, for example, you can always get into your course you want after a few years wiggling in different pathways. Yeah, so it's all fine. Yeah.
Harry, so obviously you'd be a lot more relaxed now, but I imagine right before your exams you might have had a bit of stress. How did you cope with stress throughout the years for units 1 through 4?
So the way I cope with stress was stress normally before exams, right? Especially the big one like VC. It's mostly about being anxious. Like, am I good enough? Like, have I done enough? Well, the plan, like my timetable and sticking to the timetable kind of adheres to that because I know that I have done the best that I can.
You've got routine.
Yeah, like I've got routine. I've prepared the most I possibly can. I cannot do any better. So it gives me that peace of mind, like saying, yeah, even if I worry about this and I freak out, I can't do better. This is my peak. This is my maximum. And I should be happy with that.
So, by now you've got to be relieved. You've finished high school.
Definitely.
You got a great score on your ATAR. What are you going to do next? Take a gap year, maybe, pursue a career?
Yeah, I'm looking to civil engineering. I've always been really, this may be a little bit nerdy, but I've always been really, really interested in like trains and public transport. So yeah, that's like my calling. So I want to get into a university where they teach civil engineering, but I don't know which one yet.
So when it comes to the whole public transport idea, what part of it would you be working on? Would it be designing trains, making sure that things go and function properly, or
Right.
Well, what sort of area would you be looking at?
I'm specifically interested in trains. Like, not to diss Melbourne, right? Melbourne's a great, but oh my god, compared to like Asian cities, the Melbourne train system is kind of not very good. So I want to expand the train system because there's so many people coming.
Yeah.
Melbourne's getting more crowd every day. We can't just. This train system right now doesn't suffice. So I wanted to build bridges and build tunnels to expand that system. But that's just my dream.
You want to make that step up, help be that person who explores our community and makes it better.
Right.
Just for people tuning in, you're listening to the 99.90 show where we're speaking to Harry Nguyen. He got the highest ATAR score in Footscray City College. You can find out more details in an article that will be released in Star Weekly magazine next week. So once again, thanks for joining us.
Right, thank you. You guys are all great.
Now, something I'm curious about is what actually got you interested in public transport and,
Yeah, well, no, I just hate, being on roads and see a line of cars ahead. Like, oh my god, when's this gonna end? So, public transport is top tier for solving all that problem.
Yeah, I mean, especially even environmentally, we've had so many struggles in 2019 with climate change and
the forest fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's really incredible. How long have you have you had this idea for?
It's been sticking on off with me for a few years now. But with this ATAR, definitely I can get into whatever I want to and try to reach that goal of mine.
Yeah, and actually now on the topic of ATARs, how did you react? I'm really curious.
Yeah, it must have been pretty good.
This is a bit embarrassing.
Yeah.
But I finished brushing my teeth and then I came back to my phone, turn it on. I was like, oh my god, wait, hold on. Turn it off again. Turn it on again. Refresh it like 10 times. Like, wait, no. did they make a mistake, did they? Oh. And then I ran over to my mom. I was like, Mom, you have no idea. You have no idea what I'm getting. And I just hugged my mom because we were just so happy. Yeah, nah, not the most cool, the cool kid. Yeah. But, it's fun. It was wholesome.
It just really shows that dedication and sticking to your studies really can pay off.
Right, definitely.
So I've got to ask, are there any courses in university that you've been looking forward to that really you would be able to get now, definitely with the ATAR that you've achieved?
I'm thinking any civil engineering courses would be great. RMIT, especially MIT. Apparently they're very good. They're very well known for
Yes,
their
they
engineering.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm aiming for that. Hopefully they'll give me a big wad of cash as a scholarship.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Cool.
I don't want to take this to like a dark place, but but just with the whole ATAR system, there has been a lot of reports coming out. Maybe ATAR isn't exactly the most accurate, and
Right.
the school system in general has been questioned. I think for the past couple of years. Would you say that the ATAR system is accurate or?
Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It certainly has its flaws, but I think it's one of the better systems out there because if you rank kids by, say, like their ranking
Yeah.
in regard to each other, there's not as much bias in like, was this subject too unfair, or was this year's exam too harsh or too easy or whatever.
Yeah, and I
Everyone
think-
is ranked on the same level.
Yeah, and I think even I know, my sister, she was also, one
Right,
of the year
yeah.
12s who got an ATAR, and she was really happy with what she got this morning. But, they do have a system out for, schools that are underprivileged or even families that are underprivileged or, maybe there's something going wrong. There are places, where they can actually, help you with that.
Right,
because
right.
obviously not everyone's in the same situation. And, even their home life or their school life can affect, what's going on
Obviously,
in that test.
yeah.
That's something I think that, they've done really well with.
So, you mentioned before the Asian 5.
Right.
And I was wondering, were those all subjects that you wanted to take or you thought would be best for your ATAR score?
Honestly, it's a mixture of both. I like sciences and math, but oh my god, specialist math scales up so high that it's insane. It's like 12 or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I have to take this, and it paid off. So can't complain. It was fun. It paid off. Can't complain.
Yeah.
So how has FCC prepared you for your exams?
All the teachers, I have to say thank you to all of my teachers. They were the nicest people. They were so helpful. They were with me every step of the way, constantly feeding me practice exams. Like, you done?
Yeah.
Have 5 more. Have 5 more. They were all very nice. And I think with teachers like this, you really can't go wrong.
Yeah.
I suppose it's really good to have a personal connection and relationship
course.
as well. For upcoming students who are going into VCE year 10s, into 11's going into year 12 next
Right.
year, what would you say? You've mentioned the routines and adding in your own little schedule.
Right.
Is there anything else that you would recommend for kids to really consider or think about, or things that they may dismiss that teachers tell them that they really should be taking on board?
Right. There's 2 things I really, really recommend. First of all, you should study at home, obviously. You should study in advance. You should read content before teachers tell you to. But here's the fun one.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of kids I see, they're pushing themselves way too hard. You should have a day, or let's say I chose Friday as a day where I go finish school, I go home and I play games for 8 hours until I go to sleep. There's your day. You have to have a day where you just take a break and just don't think about anything. Because otherwise you just go crazy and you start breaking down and being anxious.
So, you were talking about teachers before and how your teachers have been really helpful in preparing you. What do you think are the qualities that a VCE teacher needs to have?
A VC teacher, I'm not one. I've only been exposed to really, really excellent teacher here at Footscray College. But I think it's you need an emotional bond and a professional bond with your students. A really big desire to help them succeed. And being really supportive throughout the way, even if doesn't matter if they have a 20% or 100% test score, you should be supportive and pushing them forward.
Just to finish up, because we're running out of time.
Of course.
If there's parents considering sending their kids to Footscray City College, what would you say? What would you tell them, to make them think, you know what, FCC is a fantastic school,
Right.
and they are going to help my child reach a high ATAR score and really put themselves out there in the world. What would you say to those parents to convince them?
I'd say look at all the smart kids who has come out. Like all my friends, all of them. I've talked to many of the FCC kids here, and it's like 96, 97, 96,
Yeah.
95, 94, 93, 95. If you want, if it's achievement that you want, then FCC will deliver 100%. If it's arts that you want, we have a beautiful arts program. We have plays every single year. If it's like technology that you want, Michael Anthony, legend.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong.
Yep.
So whatever your child wants to do and whatever you want your child to do, you're in good hands at Footscray City College, or should I say, Footscray High School.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you for joining us, Harry.
Thank you for having me.
That was Harry Newen. He got the highest ATAR score in the school, 99.9, and more information will be available in the Star Weekly Zine next
Thank you.
week.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say thank you to my panel today, consisting of Taylor, James, and Marley. You've been listening to the 99.90 show on Footscray Live.